This is a reading from my philosophy journal, Philosophy Thought That Counts, published in 2010. It's an excerpt. Luckily for me, I was able to read a text on the art of reasoning by David Kelly, and that led into the philosophy of logic. Recently, I read W.V.O. Quine's Ontological Relativity that was given at the Dewey Lectures at Harvard. Quine died about the year 2000 and was one of the best 20th century philosophers. He wrote a lot about logic and the nature of language. I tend to agree with his ideas about words and their relation to thought. Words within sets of words as abstract groups or organizations and structures receive a value by the user and, of course, social inheritance. It is equally possible to construct a language such as a math or computer language with nominal or no meaning, yet there may be an implicit bias within human nature to give meanings to words or unit symbols based on environment and effectiveness. I don't want to get too far off track on the road to digressions here. Obviously, when writing about words, one might use a few thousand, and others have done so better, making a judicious rationing of language desirable here. Word sets and our ontology, or largest worldview about things, is expressed in malleable word sets. Circularity is one of the basic features of the word meanings, such as one defines green as a color, perhaps by saying it's a combination of red and blue colors. Most words get meaning with definition, references to other words, as well as the environment experienced. The words physical and existence are such words. We ask if something is physical and assume a familiar definition. Perhaps it may be defined in comparison to something not physical, yet what is that? There are good books on quantum mechanical phenomena available for us non-mathematicians to read, and good books such as Why Beauty is Truth and the History of the Mathematical Concept of Symmetry, especially developed in algebra and useful in M-theory and multidimensional experimental constructions. It is apparent that at the largest and smallest level of being, the quantum construction is indefinite. What is smaller than quarks? Where did virtual particles arise? Why did space-time and physical causality arise at all from a vacuum field before the Big Bang? What are loops, strings, quarks, and virtual particles in a macrospatial field of quantum uncertainty? There are so many questions about the one before the Big Bang and before the pre-Big Bang field arose, the vacuum field. Why did uncertainty exist to start with? Why did quantum superposition and uncertainty in a monistic waveform download into a temporal condition? For my way of thinking, I quickly get to the sort of questions that the neo-Platonist philosopher Plotinus brought to being in his 54 tractates named the Enneads. It isn't necessary to leave the topic in what seems persistently to some to be a vague mystical status. It is possible to get a book named The Essential Plotinus used online for $1 or $2 plus shipping. It's a good way to get what Bertrand Russell thought to be the writing of the philosopher with the most nature in the history of philosophy, with the most kind nature. Maurizio Gasparini's book, The Universe Before the Big Bang, is totally worth the buying for a briefing on that topic. Mind exists as a physical field. Self-awareness is a very specialized construction in that physical field, including quarks, uncertainty, and all of the very ponderable topics of beauty and complexity we might expect. Because we are not certain, due to the infinity of what the ultimate nature of anything is, with such Gödelian and Cantorian limits to knowledge of things such that there is always more beyond our grasp, we are left to consider things as events. Even Christians may consider certain events as meaningful. Relationships may be meaningful for themselves to sentient beings. Sentience may comprise an evolved level attaining to a spiritual self-awareness of being. I am sort of hurrying to a conclusion here. There are quite a few topics one might bring into or allude to, such as Hegel's phenomenology of mind, that consider the subject or aspects of it from other points of view. The historical context of many philosophical ideas from Hume to Heidegger may be thought to occur within contemporary contexts of social politics and knowledge as well. So I will skip a lot of that and return to the ideas I am concerned with here about information or intelligence within a monistic pre-Big Bang field, and perhaps consider that for myself. I agree with the ideas of Plotinus on the nature of the one. God requires no dimensional extension, yet that concept might seem vague without reading that math book mentioned above that helps to understand about us, helps us to understand the advance from linear to quadratic equations and higher literals, leading to multidimensional graphs and extra-dimensional arrays. Those scalar fields of adjustable scale are tools for modern cosmology. It seems almost logical today that God would not require dimensions for himself any more than space-time. They are temporal things, or segments of some eternal wave that contains all potential quanta. Regardless of how we go about it, the words or terms used to say that things exist, ist means to be in German languages, and also have roots in Sanskrit and the Proto-Indo-European language. So exist may mean to remove or stand back and look at being initially. Within our own ontologies, it is useful to examine a little our assumptions about what words mean. Analytic philosophy of the 20th century renormalized language and metaphysics a little in philosophy through logic and linguistic analysis to actually determine what particular words mean or refer to. Then we can find that some words are given more meaning objectively through use than they actually have in fact. Words and even knowledge are sort of virtual tools, like lights in the darkness we carry to illuminate the non-sentient universe around us of which we are part. The spiritual is the intelligent aspect of experience that rises above the deterministic forces set into being long ago before the Big Bang, at least a little. It is possible to ponder the waveform, transcending supraquanta of God just as rather comparatively silly as human beings doing our best to learn about all His marvelous works. And I would continue with light a little bit. If light is a wave, then a sampling of it at a given place or speed would be just a section of the wave, and hence it would have deterministic characteristics in relation to how and where the snapshot was made. Quanta in relative motion rather than rested in the strong, weak nuclear gravity protocol as may other quanta skip the criterion of determinism a little better, relatively speaking. Light and other particles have a deeper composition such as quarks and may exist in extra dimensions. I think present math theories for string theory can posit as many as 256 extra dimensions, and so the appearance of mass energy in various configurations by human observers in this particular universe may be doubly representational of our own deterministic scale as physical beings in these dimensions with a certain level of complexity, and from the aspects of extra-dimensional waveforms reduced to appear in these four apparent dimensions. Not all of the discrete quanta comprising a given wave particle quanta need necessarily manifest in our four dimensions. Present graviton investigations consider such matters, and that's where I'll stop.